Sergeant Bergdahl's decision to plead guilty rather than face trial marks another twist in an 8-year drama that caused the nation to wrestle with difficult questions of loyalty, negotiating with hostage-takers, and America's commitment not to leave its troops behind. President Donald Trump has called Sergeant Bergdahl a no-good traitor who should have been executed. The decision by the 31-year-old Idaho native leaves open whether he will return to captivity for years, this time in a U.S. prison, or receive a lesser sentence that reflects the time the Taliban held him under brutal conditions. He says he had been caged, kept in darkness, beaten and chained to a bed. Sergeant Bergdahl could face up to 5 years on the desertion charge and a life sentence for misbehavior. Freed 3 years ago, Sergeant Bergdahl had been scheduled for trial in late October. He had opted to let a judge, rather than a military jury, decide his fate, but a guilty plea later this month will spare the need for a trial. Sentencing will start on October 23, according to the individuals with knowledge of the case. An attorney for Sergeant Bergdahl, Eugene Fidel, declined to comment on Friday. The Army declined to discuss whether Sergeant Bergdahl had agreed to plead guilty. Sergeant Bergdahl was a 23-year-old private in June 2009 when he disappeared from his post near the Pakistan border. Videos soon emerged showing him in captivity by the Taliban. For years, the U.S. kept tabs on Sergeant Bergdahl as behind-the-scenes negotiations played out in fits and starts. In May 2014, he was handed over to U.S. Special Forces in a swap for 5 Taliban detainees, fueling of U.S. debate about whether Sergeant Bergdahl was a hero or a deserter. As critics questioned whether the trade was worth it, President Barack Obama stood with Sergeant Bergdahl's parents in the White House Rose Garden and defended the swap. "The United States does not leave our men or women in uniform behind," Mr. Obama declared, regardless of how Sergeant Bergdahl came to be captured.